This periodic review by the Ministry of Economic Development and stakeholders is designed to look at the new rules governing trade between Belize and its partners, rules which speak specifically to the economic development of all member states. Trade environment is a critical factor in economic growth.
So this framework now looks at what it does. It provides a frame, an environment in terms of how we want to address the challenges. So this framework is diagnostic and prescriptive because it has certain prescriptions on how we can address some of the challenges we have. It's not only looking at the challenges, but how do we address the challenges?
Moving forward, we want to ensure as a government that whatever framework we have and whatever policy is finally comes out of that framework will help to serve primarily the interests of Belize while not going against the conventions and agreements that we have signed in terms of trade facilitation between countries.
There is an implementation phase which will come out of this framework, including first and foremost a policy document.
But that policy document will include extensive consultations. So we'll be meeting with the private sector, the public sector. One of our major stakeholders, the media, has to be included because remember, we need the media to get our message across. And so in terms of environment, how do you trade? If you're having any kind of dispute, how dispute is settled, because there is a dispute settlement under CARICOM and under the WTO. But the most important part of this, honestly, the fact is that it will look at competition and how people compete and to ensure that anti-competitive behaviors are not being practiced or continue to be practiced.
The policy will also look at the most critical issue, that of the trade imbalance. For consecutive years, Belize has imported far more than it exports, and the gap is widening.
Now remember, the public sector does not trade. But what the public sector does in cooperation and in consultation with the private sector is to see where the shortcomings are. We also know there are global markets. You have markets all over the globe. You have markets in CARICOM. You have markets in the EU. If the UK breaks away, one of our second largest trading partner is the UK. And so we look at export capacity. Where do you make investments? Because you want to make investments in products that can easily get into markets.
I think that for Belize, our focus is looking at not so much importation because there is really a huge imbalance in trade, but looking at how we can get our goods and services up to the standards for exportation and to create access to new opportunities and new markets for Belizean products and services.
On the ground, there are real challenges to fixing the trade imbalance in the country, and in the country being able to boost its production to export readiness, particularly in agriculture.
I think the time is actually ripe, and certainly there is the political will, there is the political support to advance this agenda as quickly as we can. Our focus in Cabinet, one of the primary focus right now is Belize's economy and how we continue to grow the economy in a way that is sustainable so we don't have to react with the external shocks that we have seen, for example, in agriculture. That is unfortunate that in the shrimp sector, for example, we're dealing with a disease, but we have to insulate ourselves as best as we can from those kinds of internal and external shocks.
The discussions continued today with presentations, discussions, and a question and answer period with stakeholders and ministry representatives. Mike Rudon for News 5.